Dear Yoga Shed students, it's Petra here. I've been wanting to talk to you for a long time now since this lockdown began. I've wanted to connect with you and seen everybody doing Zoom classes, a lot of your other yoga teachers, and all sorts of different connections, Facebook Lives. And I've just thought, hang on, let me just give myself a moment to absorb this and work out what I think about it before I go ahead and try to support other people. Also, as you know, I don't really like yoga classes via video because of having to look at the screen while you do it, which is very difficult in downward dog and when you're upside down. So I've been thinking long and hard about how I can support you, and my latest idea really is just to tell you what I'm thinking and feeling, and to build on an analogy that we've used in the class to talk about the different speeds of living. And we've talked about being in different gears, haven't we? Sometimes we can feel like we're stuck in a fast gear and I see students struggle to slow down and come down the gears. I think, we sort of instinctively know that a healthy life involves being able to move between the gears and know very much how to live in first gear or neutral even, what that feels like, and how to move up the gears safely and down the gears safely as appropriate, so that we ideally spend our life in balance, sometimes in a faster gear, sometimes in a neutral or low gear. And that feels like balance, and that feels like health, and that feels like active and passive and work and rest, and that's mental and physical health in essence, really, isn't it? And I just was walking this morning and I thought, gosh, this lockdown feels like the whole world has gone from fifth gear to first gear very quickly overnight, and that's going to cause, as it would a car, a big strain on the system, a big strain on the nervous system of our society and on us as individuals. And I'm sure, like me, that many of you felt a sort of jolt and a stress and a sort of shock as the whole world just slowed down so violently. And maybe also you then moved into feeling grateful for that, as, maybe that's, I've fantasized for a long time about what it would be like to live 100 years ago, 150 years ago, when things were slower. There wasn't so much movement and technology, and people knew how to do nothing because that's what was required of them a lot of the time. Long evenings with no electricity, you just had to... You couldn't entertain yourself the whole time, so you'd have to learn to be in neutral and first gear a lot of the time. Anyway, here we are. It feels like on the walk that we're 100 years ago. There's no traffic, no one's spending any money. There's time. I know some of you are working, but even if you're working, you would have noticed how society has just become so quiet and so calm, and everyone's become so insular, and it's this huge shift from outwards to inwards, it feels like, and this huge shift down the gears. And I wanted to help you to focus. If you're one of the people that have spent a lot of your life in a fast gear, I have, by the way. If you noticed in any of the YouTube clips that I've just made in the last few days, I'm fairly breathless and rushing because for me, when I'm in a work mode, I go fast. And generally, I have to say I go fast. I can, and I'm able to move down the gears, and I understand what it feels like to be in neutral and first gear. That's not to say that I have the balance right all the time. Maybe I spend too long in fast gear and not enough time in a slow gear, or even, of course, you can go the other way and you can spend too long in neutral and first, sort of collapsing a bit beneath all of this, and you're going to need to come into balance to be able to move up the gears again. And yes, I suppose I wanted to get you to focus on how beneficial this might be for you in thinking about your different speeds that you can move between, and using your yoga to support moving up and down the gears, coming to a strong practice if you're feeling lethargic and slow, and coming to a really gentle, soft practice if you're going too fast. And I know in the classes for a long time now I've been talking about gentleness and kindness, and to me that feels like slowing down, and that feels like having time to go on the walk and really look around and see the flowers and slow down. And so, maybe the world's coming back into balance. Doesn't it feel like that to you? It does to me. It's so horrific the way that it's happening and that it's causing all this death. Maybe the world was careering so fast in the wrong direction that we needed something this dramatic to cause this much of a slowdown. And it's really giving me hope that people and us and we can use it as an opportunity to see how fast we were going and how we couldn't slow down. I've had students who just couldn't slow down. And so in the course of a day, for example, you want to spend some time in an active gear, in a faster gear, getting something done, doing your exercise, whatever it is, and some time to feel more comfortable in those lower gears too. Sometimes I don't know about you, but sometimes I get anxious in the lower gears. I feel society judges us. Maybe we're lazy. Maybe we've spent too long in the low gear and we feel anxious. But in the course of a day, we want to feel fairly balanced between the two. So if you've done something active, know that afterwards it's right and good to sit and be still and go for a walk and look at the flowers and lean into that slowness and stillness and gentleness as an antidote to the opposite. Anyway, these are my thoughts. I really hope that you resonate with this, and maybe you can leave some comments if you're feeling the same way. There's such a beautiful opportunity here for the whole world to reset in and remember what balance feels like, and to give ourselves the time. Thankfully, we have the time now, many of us, to feel into neutral and first gear and feel into moving down the gears. How do we do that? And how do we move up the gears, and how do we know what gear to be in? I really like this analogy. I hope you do too. Anyway, I'll be back with more thoughts, and I very much hope to hear from you. I miss you all very much, and I can't wait to begin our yoga journeys together again. Much love. Namaste.